back to Use It or Lose It, where I help you get every penny out of your food dollar and keep food out of the landfill. Today's episode is what I'm calling Summer Bounty. So I have a lot of bits and bobs of leftover vegetables, and I'm going to turn it into a delicious skillet. And so these summer specific vegetables are, I have zucchini, I have peppers, onions, corn, and tomatoes. So those are all things that are in season right now. Using in-season produce is a great way to save on your food budget because you're not paying those premium prices for shipped in out-of-season vegetables. Okay, so the first time I made this, it was kind of by accident that I found the secret ingredient, which was dill. Another great summer go with. I happen to have this sad partial bunch of fresh dill, and it really just made the whole thing sing. I don't have any more of that fresh dill, so I'm using dried dill today, but it should have the same kind of punch that the fresh dill did. I'm also going to be using garlic, of course. What are onions without garlic? And I'm going to top it all off with some of these real fully cooked bacon bits, because bacon is just such a great go with tomatoes and corn. And we're going to throw in some leftover cojito cheese that I need to move along, and it's going to give it this wonderful kind of creamy texture. So this is going to be similar to a mock shoe, which is a classic southern dish that is typically corn, tomatoes, onions, bacon, and cream. So it's kind of similar to that. But anyway, we're going to get started. So I've been heating up my pan with olive oil, and we're going to start with the onions and peppers. These peppers getting kind of wrinkly, so time to use those up. And I had a couple of bits of onion that were in there, and it's like just screaming to be used. Okay, so we're going to get that going. Ooh, sizzle! So you want these to soften up a bit. Let the onions get translucent. So kind of the order of things is we're first going to get these aromatics going, the peppers, onions, and then we're going to add the zucchini and tomatoes. So for the tomatoes, I had grape tomatoes. I over-purchased, so I need to use them up. And I pulsed them in my little magic bullet, but you can use a food processor or a blender to kind of get them chunked up and release the liquid, because that's going to help cook the zucchini and the corn. The corn is cut right off of a cob. It's getting wrinkly and a little bit dried out. So you need that liquid to help it cook and soften up and be delicious. So that's kind of how it is. And then add in the cheese, and when you're ready to serve, sprinkle that bacon on top. And this is coming along nicely. I put the garlic in at the same time as the zucchini because, you know, there's always that risk with garlic that it's going to cook too much too fast, get over browned and be bitter. So better to add it when you are sauteing the zucchini so that it imparts the flavor but doesn't get overcooked. All right, so our onions are pretty translucent now, so in goes the zucchini. And the corn doesn't take as long to cook. That's why I put it in with the towards the end, once the tomatoes have had a little chance to render. And we're going to add in some garlic. I'm lazy. I use the pre-minced. I know you're not supposed to do that, but sue me. Now the fun thing about this, and I used a small zucchini, 1 ear of corn, maybe half of an orange pepper, half of a red pepper, about 1/4 to half an onion. This is just for me, but it'll make probably 2 servings. But you may ask yourself, what can I do with the leftovers? If you're one of those people that doesn't enjoy leftovers as is, you could add this on top of pasta. You could add rice and maybe some black beans and use it as a burrito filling. So let your imagination run wild. It makes a good side for a regular entree. So I just want these zucchini to get a little bit sauteed before I add the rest of the ingredients. They're coming along nicely. Now is a good time to add some salt. If you want to zing this up a bit, you can always add some crushed red pepper. That would go well here. Okay, now and another nice thing is this comes together pretty quickly. So now it's time to add our corn. Whoop. Why is it that when I'm doing this, there's always one piece that goes flying off? Everybody into the pool. And our tomato. So this is probably about, I think, 1/2 cup of mashed up tomato. Gonna get that stirred up a bit, and now I'm gonna add my dill. Ooh, and it's a fresh jar. And don't be shy with the dill, because I'm serious, that really just makes this dish sing. When I originally made it, I had about 1/3 cup of fresh dill. So the rule of thumb is you use like 1/3 of dried herb to what you would use fresh. Now, can't do the math in my head right now, but you get the idea. All right, and so that's mixing up nicely. So here's another pro tip. Wave some of the steam coming off of that to get a sense of what your flavors are doing. So I definitely smell the dill, so I don't need to add any more of that. So now I'm going to put in the cheese so it has a chance to melt. There's kind of big chunks. But this just, the first time I made this, I used my old friend cream cheese, because that melts quickly and incorporates nicely, but I needed to use this up, so going with that. And so now is the unsexy part, where you just gotta let it simmer and do its thing and get the cheese all melty and all the flavors to blend. So I'm gonna stop the video and come back in a few minutes when this is ready for plating. So stay tuned. Okay, and I'm back. So I let that simmer, and now the liquid is pretty much cooked out of it. You can leave it soupy if you prefer. Well, here's one of the things about when you're making up stuff on the fly. The cojito cheese didn't melt, so I didn't get that creamy texture like I had the first time I made this, but that's okay. It's still going to be delicious. I just know it. So I'm ready to throw some of that in the bowl. We're going to sprinkle on our bacon bits. I can figure out how to get it open. And this is hot enough where that's going to heat up the bacon bits appropriately so they'll be delicious. So we'll take a little taste. I found all the ingredients in one spot. Oops, let's add a little zook. See if it's as good the first time I made this up. Yummy. Definitely has that dill flavor, all those wonderful summer vegetables. So there you have it, a nice little vegetarian meal and in one shot. Well, except for the bacon bits. But if you are vegetarian and you want to bump this up with a little protein, I would say add some black beans towards the middle of the process, like when you add the tomatoes, because that'll get them warmed up and cooked through. Then it's a complete meal, and then it's ready to turn into a burrito with just the addition of some rice. So that's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!